Welcome to CAG TV with Mr. CAG, the home of realities and facts of life. Make sure you don't touch that dial. Mr. CAG and the CAG TV got you covered.
Hey family, welcome to CAG TV right here. Of course, this is your brother Mr. CAG. It's been ages since I did like live, kind of a recording, especially we're making like a commentary on something. And so today I want to run some comments on something special that happened yesterday. Obviously, a lot of people that follow Zambian gospel are aware to the very fact that yesterday Kings Mumbi Zambia. I even heard another name yesterday, you know. Okay. He did actually render an apology. So he had a brief press briefing. I don't know where it was, but then right there he did talk about a lot of things. He apologized, and so I want us to take time to just go through some of the apologies that he made and some of the things that he made references to, okay, so that we just get a clear picture. Because if somebody comes in the public to apologize, obviously he cannot restrict you from what you think, your interpretation, your analysis, and things like that. Right, and so I think first things first, I must congratulate Kings Mumbi to come out like in public and render an apology to the public, to the men of God, to his colleagues, his sons, the Zambian populace in general, and stuff like that. It's not really easy knowing the stubborn lion that is in Kings. You know, Pasamika Batali, it seems to be very hard, very difficult, very strong, very stubborn, and so a lot of people take those attributes for being rude, you know, boastful. I've met like a lot of people that have told me, Kings, you see, wachilumbala yumfa too much posting, and so so basically, let me not waste much of your time. I want us to check the first clip out extracted from his press briefing, and then we'll just run a comment on it. Just watch this with me. All right, and so let's just see it.
8 years ago, if not 10 years ago, Bishop Makando called me and gave me counsel. I was very glad to meet him yesterday. We prayed together. He prayed for me, and he told me, Sonny, Bread of Life is your home. Gates are open for you. The smiles he gave me strength, even to come today and speak to the nation. I met my pastor, Pastor Chiluba, 3 days ago. The smiles he gave me with Mama Chiluba. Wow. Those smiles were a strength to me. And the bishops that really took part in counseling me, Bishop Billy Mfula, Bishop Tim Michael. I can mention, I think I've listed. Then Bishop Ongambi, Bishop Sandis Nyangwe, Apostle Kobe, Bishop Haggai, a lot of friends, Apostle Abraham. I'm really grateful to you for taking time to counsel me. There is a man who is not a Zambian, a prophet who is not a Zambian, and this is no other than Prophet Ngila. During the time of campaigns, friends, I spoke ill against this man. And I've realized that there is no way, as a young man, I can stand tall and speak and start rebuking the elders of faith, the fathers of faith, in public. Nothing gives me that right. May the man of God, wherever he is, forgive me. It will never happen again. I have learned that there's no way I can be insulting elderly people.
All right, so in this particular excerpt, there are a lot of things that he has addressed. Number one is thanking the men of God in Zambia that have encouraged him, counseled him, given him advice and things like that. Now, first things first. You know, if you have a tendency of ignoring an advice, okay, is talking not prior to him realizing that he's actually fallen, and there was need for, you know, an apology. But he's basically talking after PF lost power in this era, this regime, this time, this age that we're in. They've sat him down, and this has expedited, you know, the reason and the process to him realize that he needs to ask for forgiveness from the Zambian people and all of the people that you know, get blessed by his ministry. Now, here's the thing. I know the Zambian society, we've been raised to umwana wa mnobe, umwana wa muntu, umwana wa mushi, you see. And so, despite which church Kings belongs to, every pastor has a say in his life. And so, obviously, the council has not just started coming now. From what I can say is that he's been ignoring counsel. This is why other people call him stubborn or boastful. It's because he's been ignoring counsel from these men of God. Imakando sat him down long, like 10 years ago, according to him. He was sat down, encouraged him, told him, Kings, the level at where you're at now, you need to avoid ABCD. You need to start doing ABCD. You need to portray yourself in these certain areas. But he ignored that counsel. So, the truth of the matter is that if you ignore the counsel, you will pay handsomely. Ichilumba chivi. Don't ignore counsel from people. Humans are humans, regardless of what status you are at. Humans are humans. And so, number two, I think what I would want to say is that for him ignoring, the fact that he ignored the counsel that the fathers of faith here in Zambia gave him or rendered to him, he has now learned it a hard way. It's fallen hard. Kuli mwe balekula, abantu nga balekwe, okwali nsoke, takwafuire muntu. If somebody warns you, please adhere. It's not that they just want to control you. No, it's not about control. It's about protecting what you carry, your value to the society. Right, the second thing is that of Prophet Joshua Ingila. All right, he's also apologizing because during campaign time, he insulted Prophet Ingila. Prophet Ingila just gave a prophecy where he was saying there is a wind of change in Zambia. And so there are two giants fighting, and so it's from these two giants that one will emerge victorious. But he emphasized the need for a change of wind. Now, Kings went beyond the bar, you know, beyond the borders. He started, insulting the man of God. He went into his private life. Obviously, a lot of you are aware that Prophet Ingila just divorced his wife. And so it was because of the infidelity that was experienced from the wife and from him. He did confess this in church. He impregnated some lady, has a child from there, and he says he was pushed because the wife also brought in a child out of infidelity. So these were none of his concern. These were none of his business, but he delved much into that and he spoke ill of him. He condemned Ingila. And now he has realized that Ingila is actually now like a father. He's led a lot of people to Christ. And so he shouldn't have done that. It's good to realize your mistakes. But what is even better is not to make the mistakes. They say prevention is better than cure. Don't be big-headed for nothing. Don't listen from people. The whole wisdom of God lies in people. Yes, people put together consist of the wisdom of God. The challenges that we have today as a nation lies that we think only Christ can solve, lies in the hearts and minds of people. A collective mindset from humanity, God has poured his own mindset. Right? That's some wisdom there. And so I just wanted to show you also a short clip of Joshua Ingila where he was actually making this prophecy. And so let's just check it out.
Grow maturely. This is not about us. It's about the mind of God. And I want to say this. Under no circumstances should anybody try to rig the election of Zambia, either from A or from B. The will of the people is supreme to any individual desire. Let there be Zambia after I have gone or after I'm there. Zambia is important to anybody. Let our children come to see the nation of Zambia, not to see the selfishness of any individual, either from Group A or Group B. It's very important. There are so many contestants. But like I said last week, and I remain on my point. Again, I said this, is it 5 years ago, and I'm saying it again. It is in his destiny. It's not in anybody.
It is in his destiny.
Is it the time? I think so.
Referring to HH.
Hallelujah. While I was praying in my vision, stroke this night, God gave me this vision. And I'm not going to attach it to anybody. I will attach it to whomsoever it may concern. And I'm not naming anybody. If you want to interpret it yourself. Why do I speak like this? I don't fear anybody. I speak like this because we are not participating in election. If I have my way, I will speak black.
Okay, so that was Prophet Joshua Ingila right there. And so it was out of this series of prophecies in regards to Zambia's 2021 elections where the PF lost to UPND. And it was basically saying, he said it even 5 years prior to this event, that probably it was going to be his destiny, referring to HH. And now this spark or stirred up the heart of Kings, because he thought he's in the camp of Christians, so he can also speak on Christian matters. And so he attacked Ingila like a great deal. In the interest of time, I'm not going to show you what he said, but let's move on, because I think with the wind of change, it looks like Ingila also is enjoying some apologies, because recently Prophet Ian from Zambia went to Nigeria to just apologize to him. I don't know what he said, but that aside, let me not digress. So let's just jump into another excerpt and see what line of thought Malembe had this time in his apologies. All right, and so here we go.
I've lost.
I'm trying to understand what offense did you commit by associating yourself with the previous regime?
And that's why today I'm apologizing, because I think I went beyond the paid, and you saw me campaigning. I went with my track campaigning, and I campaigned for the candidate of my choice. You know, that aside, the choice is not a mistake I made. No, that should be very clear. The mistake is taking sides.
I'm trying to understand.
Yes, I was, because a cadre is someone who supports a certain club. So I was a cadre of Patriot Front. Yeah. Not less than obviously 15,000 or 20,000 bucks. In every appearance, I would be paid to sing. I said no, because I knew my slot. God called me to sing to the heart of the president, and that was my slot. When the president is not there, my slot is not there. I am called to sing to the heart of the president, not any other. If PF on, am I going to render? You know, the realization comes in seasons like this. I'm sure it could have been very difficult for me to realize this, you know. It could have been very difficult. And frankly speaking, I don't know if I could have apologized.
Right, and so that's the clip that in this particular one is talked about a lot of things, but first things first. He says the journalist there asked him to say what wrong did you commit in associating yourself with the PF government or PF party. And he clearly stated that he went overboard. He did things that he was not supposed to be done. Now, listen, Kings was a guru, was a big guy in town in terms of music, gospel music. And so his music had such an influence that even in the bars it was played because he's a rumba guy. And so, you know, rumba will always ignite the appetite in you to dance and jive. And so, as you all may be aware, in rallies, people would need to dance, would need hyper kind of music and things like that. And so Kings was always a target, but it is in moments like these where you need management. People around you that will speak sense to you. People around you that will guide you. You need a personal manager. You can't be your personal manager. Kings, you cannot be signing contracts on your own. Kings, you cannot be picking calls on your own. The level at which you reached. I must be very sincere with you. The level where you were at then is different from the level where you are at today. Yes. There's a very huge difference. Remember, personally, I asked you if at all you drink, because these were rumors that if you drink beer, because these were rumors that were running around. You denied. You said you've never tasted beer and things like that. I asked you if at all you were a CADA. You refused. But today you're telling us that you're now you were actually a CADA. I don't know if you've now stopped being a CADA. I don't know if you're apologizing for being a CADA. Okay, yeah, you're saying you apologize for being a CADA. You shouldn't have, been a CADA because you're a public figure. Now, here are some of the things. Listen, if you fail to draw a line, money has a tendency of blinding people. Imagine you signing a contract with the president or president's people. You sing for him. You sing for him, not to him, you sing for him. He calls you, you sing for him. I remember last time in South Africa, you said, the president cannot speak until he listens to my music. You know what that means? You sing for him. Now, listen. If you have a manager, what it means is that you need to be paying the manager. And so you would be having a share out of those contracts. Now, there are always repercussions that comes later on because you'll be misguided. People would have a negative influence on you. In fact, even on your mind, how you make decisions and things like that. So, number two, you easily lose principles. You easily forgot that you were called to minister. I remember you told me your first album you had actually released two. One was a secular music, the other one was a gospel. But the gospel music found a soft spot, before your sponsor and also to the Zambian populace. Now, you know what that means? You were not decided even the time that you were doing your gospel music. All you were after was money. And so because gospel music was like a good entry point into your music career, you ran with it. Lack of principles, like right from the onset. If your focus is money, you will not value certain norms and values that ought to be, observed and respected along the way. That's where you missed it. You needed a management team. You needed people to strike orders for you, contracts for you, sign contracts for you, draw lines for you, know where you can go, where you cannot go. You can't just be everywhere. You cannot. You cannot. This messes up because this messes you up. Remember, if you're a public figure, there is a way that you're supposed to talk. There is a way that you're supposed to dress. There are certain places you need to go to. Now, you reached an extent where you started, I even asked you, you told me you are called to preach to, you can even preach to the devil. No, my brother, you cannot preach to the devil. The devil will never repent. The devil will never be born again. So you'll be wasting your time. It's in these times when you feel like you can preach to the devil that you need men of God like Imakando, like Pastor Chiluba, like all of these, the Inglas, you know, like the all of these, like the Zambian fathers in terms of faith, to guide you to say, my friend, stop wasting time to preach to the devil. You cannot preach to the devil because he can never give his life to Christ. You see what I mean? Then the second thing that I need to clarify in here is the issue of cadarism. You remember how you used to disguise yourself into being a cadre for Christ because people called you a cadre. Listen, Zambian people are not fools. They are able to see. Balamona. Even when you pretend. So my plea and my humble appeal or advice is that learn to listen from people regardless of their status, regardless of their background, regardless of where they're coming from. Learn to listen from people. All right? And so you were a typical cadre. You used abusive language. And like for Ingla, like you were saying, it's not just for Ingla, him being a father of faith, but as Christians, we are taught to respect elders, regardless of who they are, what their status is. Don't respect him because he's a man of God. Respect him because he's an elder. Now listen, this does not give him the guarantee to misbehave and you watch him. Where he makes a mistake, especially not in his personal life, but in the things to do with faith. If he begins to teach wrong doctrine, you have the right to correct him. With respect. You correct a person regardless of his age when they go off track in terms of the doctrine, with, of course, respect. You don't correct people. The Bible speaks of correction from within love. You correct each other with love. Don't correct people to embarrass them. So that was a cadre mentality. No wonder it was coming out like that. Now, I want us to look at another point. The other thing is, you are saying in your clip, the clip that we just played, you are saying at some point you could even refuse to perform at certain functions because your calling was to minister to the president. There is no such a thing, my brother. There is no such a thing. Of course, back in the day, due to the limitation of the messengers of God, so certain people were assigned to minister to kings, to minister to priests, to minister to, people that mattered in the society. But this time around, when the Bible says, I will send the Holy Spirit upon you, and you shall be my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the all corners of the world. So you cannot say you've been called to minister to the president. Now, here's the question. If you're called to minister to the president, which president? Is it all the presidents? Now that you have no access to Akainde Ichilema, is your ministry irrelevant? You can answer that one for me. Is your ministry irrelevant? Are you still ministering to Edgar Lungu? There was a serious misconception during PF's regime, It was during this regime that we saw people that were calling themselves Christians for Lungu. There are no such a thing in the Bible. For Lungu, who? How? Why? It's lack of proper understanding. So what we are saying is that kings, you are not called to sing to presidents. No, there is no such a thing. Check in your scriptures. With the understanding of the Bible, there is no such a thing. You cannot say you were called to sing to presidents. No, you go and sing to Akainde. All of us, we know that Akainde does not sing to Rumba songs. Akainde does not dance along to most of these songs that are played in Zambia. He has a special kind of, songs. We've seen him dance like that. Which one of your songs will he dance like this? Which one of your songs? He has his own special dance. How about if a person that is not a Christian comes in and becomes a president? What will happen? How will he give you access? So, listen to me, the life of a president is equal to the life of the voter. The life of a president is equal to any person's life, except that the role of a president in the land is magnified because it oversees the lives of a lot of people that dwell in that land. But in the eyes of God, they are all the same, whether you are a priest. So remember, even respect, don't just respect people because they are priests. Even kabova parodi, igo parodi, pakatondo, respect them, because in the eyes of God, there is no Jew, there is no Gentile, there is no male, there is no female, there is no old, there is no young. We are all equal in the eyes of God. Even you kings, you are not more important than a beginner today in the gospel fraternity. You are not. The quicker you understand this, the better. Then number two, or secondly, or next is, remember, if you start bad, your run will be bad, your race will be bad, and obviously your end will be bad. Yes. I'm taking my time because you need to understand. This is why if you are taught a wrong gospel, you will be a false convert, a false Christian, and your attitude will be false, will be bad, and obviously your end will be bad. Why am I saying this? The time you started gospel, your idea was to blow out or blow up, to shine, to be heard everywhere. Of course you have a talent, a great one, we cannot dispute from that fact. But the problem is your attention was money. And so money blinded you when the PF people started splashing it on your table. You were blinded. You forgot the churches where you belonged to. You forgot the church you belonged to. You were from one church to another. You called this one your papa. You called this one your father. You called this one your dad. The problem is simple. Kabaso wiso mailo wachinjo yaba wiso. No, you stick to your father. And you being a member of the church that preached Christ to you, you should have stayed loyal to them, just like you were loyal to PF. But you ditched them. You dumped them. You are now a son of Imakando. As we speak, you are a son of Pastor Chiruba. These are bigger churches. You didn't start from a bigger church, Kings, you know that. You know your background. Remember where you had fallen from. Remember where you had fallen from. And so this is what we are saying. If your vision is clad with other things, all right, you easily diverge. You easily be swayed away. You easily be swayed away. You forget your focus. You forget why you exist. You forget why you're doing what you're doing. What keeps people doing one and the same thing time and again is the focus, is the purpose, is a vision. Without a vision, people perish. Yes, that's what the Bible encourages us to write a vision. So yours was to preach to the lost souls, not money. The Bible says, seek ye the kingdom of God first, and all of these other things will be added to you. But you used the gospel to make money. You were selling the gospel. That was a problem. Now your customers were the big guys in town, in Zambia, PF. And they ended up buying you. Instead of, have you ever heard of this kind of a thing? Where you are selling something, but they end up buying you altogether with your products. You sold yourself to PF. Now they started misusing you. You thought you were loved because you could just enter State House anyhow. No. I've spoken much about that. Then I think next is change. You are saying you've transformed. Is your transformation genuine? How do we know that your transformation is genuine? You are saying you haven't changed because you are broke. Now listen, you've just cited how you've lost friends, how you've lost men of God, the relationships with men of God. You've just told us how you have lost bigger deals, like from the time that you did Kings Mumbi, from the I've been a keen follower of your music. You know that we know each other at a personal level. the biggest event that you had was when you filled up Lungushi some time back. From there, it was when you filled up Woodlands. I was in that audience. In all of these two audiences, I was a part. I was a part. I took part. I was in there. Now, listen. From the time after the Woodlands show, Kings 10th anniversary of Kings, I think, yeah. After that, you lost popularity. Why? Because you became a staunch PF cadre, not member. You crossed the borders. You went beyond board. You knew being a cadre, you would have a lot of material things. You would have a lot of opportunities to minister in churches, especially that there was a crop of people that were calling themselves, not cadres for Lungu, but Christians for Lungu. So you had free access into their churches, and you made a lot of money out of that. So focus. You lost your purpose. Now, how do we trust that your change is genuine? You are saying you are not broke. You have told us CK Logistics pulled out. MTN pulled out. They are no longer sponsoring you. They put a more than 50,000 bill function. That was the function you held at Woodland Stadium. Where will that money come from now? Where will that money come from now? Very difficult. And so you cannot say it's not because of money. Money is a contributing factor. Money is not flowing in as much as it used to. There is a change of the level of the inflow of cash into you. And so you have realized where you had fallen. It was because of money. So even if you're... let's be sincere, Kings. Even if your calendar is full up to December, check. There are no major events. There are no major functions there. There are no major functions. Learn from your friends like Ephraim. Learn from all of these other musicians. Ephraim is the best example. Some of the people that don't know him, they thought, no, you knew Balishan because of his attire. You know, he is far from it. He's now a man of God. He's a pastor. He's leading a church. He's leading a church. He's a perfect example. All right, I've talked about a lot of things. Now, I'm almost winding up. Now, here's the thing. Because of your lack of focus or your shift of focus, you even... If we look at most of the songs that you did earlier when you just started your gospel, ministry into gospel music, you realize that the content, because listen, you could be a gospel musician, but you don't sing gospel music. We've always been talking about all of these things here on this particular platform. So the gospel content level in your songs now is so little, such that a lot of people don't even listen to it. Your music is good. Your music is good. The talent is there. But the content, what makes your music gospel, the gospel in your music, the gospel level in your music has reduced. Because your mind is clad with money, making profits and all of that. Not touching lives, not changing souls. I've spoken much. Let's play another clip and then we move on. Here we go.
And colleagues that I have mentored in ministry. We are talking about Papa Bruno, Christine, Collins, Fidimo, Francis. These guys have suffered shame because of my work. You haven't walked, with your heads up. Sometimes you even think of just distancing yourself from me, not to be, not to associate yourself with me. You feel ashamed because of that. And to my sponsors, most of them that pulled out, the SCK Logistics, the people that loves me, the people that have put money, who have put my name there. Most of my concerts were sponsored by Zamtec. Yes, I've got invitations. My calendar is full up to December. But my heart knows that this is where I'm not supposed to be. Friends, I'm not doing this that I am broke. No. This is coming from the conviction as a believer. I know how a believer should move. You see, when I had a concert in Woodland Stadium, which we filled up a few years ago, we had a budget of over 500,000. And this money came through without sweating. Sponsors brought this money. SCK Logistics brought this money. And Zamtel gave me sponsorship. Friends, that money is no more. No more. So I think I've lost a lot. I can't estimate, obviously, because I haven't made a lot of big functions of late. And so I think I've lost it. I've lost it.
All right. Zamtel has put out. SCK Logistics has put out. He has lost it. He has lost money. Though he cannot estimate, he has lost money. Now, here's the thing. Remember, here's the thing. As we speak, he started by apologizing to the likes of Fidimo, Christine, Phila, Papa Bruno, Collins, is it Prince, and all of these others. Now listen to this. As we speak, there is no Malembe as a crew. It doesn't exist. Why? Lack of timing. Lack of timing. Kings has nurtured and mentored all of these that he has cited. But the problem is that in their conscience, something was telling them, the political road you have taken is bad for ministry. It's bad for ministry. And for the love of money is the root of all evil things. Money is not bad, but the value you attach to it, how you love it, the level of your love towards money, that's where the problem is. I asked you, why don't you... Obviously, a lot of you are aware that from the time that Christine started singing on her own, she's never been part of Malembe on a public function. Never. 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 We've seen Papa Bruno come. We've seen Filimo come. But Filimo has also started going his own way. Same as Koli. They work especially together because these are like friends, good friends. Collins and Filimo. They're now doing music together. The two of them. I asked Kings, why don't we see Filimo more often? Why don't we see Collins more often? Why don't... He said, no, you know, with a smile. But I could tell that he's not allowing the heart to speak. He was saying they are now grown up, so they're doing things. But whenever we need them, we merge as Malembe and do ministry together. But the passion, the commitment is not there. Even when you put them together. Remember the recent one you had at the government complex. Papa Bruno was making all mistakes because he's never been consistent in terms of rehearsing with you. Now, what lesson do we draw from this? Learn to listen from people, even those that you are leading. Even leaders. This was also a problem. This is also a problem to political leaders. A lot of them, they don't want to listen from people from the grassroots. Yes, they say, finch mwala tuweba imwe, finch mwala tuweba, akudien kandolo, akudien breadi, finch mwala tuweba imwe, aba yango badira, no, finch mwala tuweba imwe, yango ngana ishupa, filekeni. No, learn to listen from these people. Learn to listen from these people. Leadership is about learning to listen wisely and effect your lessons perfectly and swiftly. Alright, so there is no Malembe. Christine ala imbira. Bala kumana veba imba veka itwalishwana. So we can, you know, he's being our mentor and thing. But in the actual sense, Malembe is not there. Remember you started with Kakoma. Where is he? Are you in good terms? Do you even do music together? Last time I asked you about him, you said, no, Akesa. He never showed up. Remember, don't leave. You see, alone you can move fast. But in a group you can go far. All right? The second one is... Okay, so I think I've talked about this, the value of invitations. Then number two, the inflow of cash. It's easier to now listen. You've broken a lot of people's trust. Listen to me. Don't ever play with people's trust. If people tell you they love you, value that love. Value the trust. Don't play with it. Because if you break it, it's easier to break than to build. Remember what Jesus said? I can bring down this house, this temple in one day, but I can rebuild it in 3 days. So it's easier to break than to build. You've broken a lot of people's trust. Even today that you've come out in public, a lot of people are saying, no, even those few that remained with you, they are now disappointed because or because of, no, Kings take ada, take ada. But today you've come out in public and you're saying in kada. So my phone. Kings were the one for kada, Kings were the one for malembe in kada failure. And so you've probably transformed genuinely, but you've left injuries in people's hearts. A lot of people are injured. So don't dare to break people's trust. You can't mend their hearts like easily. This will cost your going forward. Remember, the kings we had some 10 years back, all right, is not the kings that we have today. We are the bigger kings. Now, at this level, what you should have done is to keep your team together, work with them, because with them, they still have the oomph, the desire. For you, what you're up to, you've already done your hits. What is remaining with you is money. All you want is money. But working as a team, these people could have helped you. See how good the songs you did with the Philimos, the Collings, Christine, how good they were. All right, let me play you another song. Not really song, rather. Let me play you another clip, then we are done for this one. And so let's go.
People are saying, is it a competition? Are you competing with your maps? No, it's not. It's not a competition. Our young Yo Maps has just inspired our faith to do more, especially for God. When I saw a stadium packed like that, my heart was saying, I wish this is for gospel. And so the young man has inspired our faith.
All right, the young man has inspired our faith. Yeah, it's news breaking and record breaking here in Zambia for an artist to fill up a 60,000 seater capacity stadium, like, the whole of that. That's some good things to talk about. Now, here's the thing. One thing you need to remember, Kings, is that the secular music industry is bigger than the gospel industry here in Zambia. Yes, it's bigger. Yes, it's bigger. Why do I say so? I'm saying this because I think there's nothing to debate about. As we stand, the Olios are the ones running the show here in Zambia in terms of music. Are the ones running the show in terms of music. You reached a point where you dictated the pace, including these people, the secular artists. They also looked up to you for guidance, and because you used to do wonders. But for now, it's your maps. We can't beat by the bush. Now listen. The strategy that Yo Maps used was very simple. He knew he couldn't fill up Heroes on his own. But I must tell you, the level where you reached Kings, you could have filled up Heroes on your own. But what did he do? He brought every crop, every genre of secular music here in Zambia. Every name, every big old name was brought there. And obviously, we know it wasn't filled to the capacity. But he did a very tremendous job. Now, Kings, I saw your post the very time you put it up on social media. You were saying you spoke to the Adonai, Mumba, Goodson Mumba. And so you're saying in honor of him being a veteran. No, you are diverging. Is this event going to be for Goodson Mumba, in honor of Goodson Mumba? Or is it going to be for you? The best you can do is maybe don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. You can lead the show, but bring people on board. And your idea should not really be money. Let it be ministry. But I must tell you, you have a huge mountain to climb to fill up heroes as Kings Malembe, especially with this. Yes, especially with this. Because with what you have said, a few months ago, if not one or two, you were lamenting that UPND government is holding on to your money. You haven't been paid colossal sums of money. And so you remember to Alkwataba Fimbo Poke, they were saying, I the supplier to MP3 Tabalamulipila. You see what I mean? I just hope you haven't done this so that you should now win favor from UPND government. You are free to do what you can, but learn to separate business and ministry. Learn to separate that. Learn to separate ministry from business. If you want to deal with UPND, do it wise this time around. I know all of this is happening because you're not saying you're broke, but your business has gone down, tremendously down. Yes, it has gone down. You are not in poverty, but your business has gone down. And you know, if you strike some good relationships with a UPND, you know your business can go up again. You do that wisely this time around. Don't be a cadre. Don't be a cadre. There is man and be. But we have smart cadres now. Smart cadres. Don't be even a smart cadre. In fact, don't even call yourself a cadre for Jesus. Just be a minister. Just be a child of God. And it ends. And so, family, this is what I had for you. This was an apology, a press briefing, by Kings Malembe. Big up for coming out in public and airing out your views. But, like we have said, you're such a courageous man. Very few people can easily come out like that and then share out their mistakes. But I believe the counsel has been genuine and your reflection has been genuine. Hence, probably your apology being genuine, your change of mindset being genuine. And so shalom uzamuziva Yesu mulingachili mtoziande mwajuka uli. God bless you.